You ever have one of those days where you're just sweeping your porch, minding your own damn business, and suddenly the cops pull up right in front of your house? Yeah, well, that happened. And let me tell you, the first thought that crossed my mind wasn't, oh no, what did I do? It was, they must be lost. Because this is a dead-end street. I'm a 67-year-old man in a faded ball cap and slippers. And the only law I've ever broken is overcooking my Sunday bacon. But then, one of the officers climbs out, checks his notepad, and says with a straight face, "Sir, we've received a report that you're trespassing on HOA property." I just stared. Then I looked at my porch, at the big wooden sign I hammered into the ground myself. Private property, no HOA. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Trespassing on my own land. Welcome to retirement, right? I guess I should back up a sec, because a week before all this, I thought I'd finally escaped the HOA madness for good. Sold my old place. One of those neighborhoods where the HOA patrols like stormtroopers, rulers in hand. Measuring grass blades and mailbox heights. Bought this sweet, non-HOA house at the end of a quiet street. And planned to spend my golden years doing whatever the hell I pleased. And now, an HOA I didn't even belong to was trying to boot me off my own property. You can't make this stuff up. Thing is, I didn't always hate HOAs. Back in my 40s, I thought they were kind of cute. Bunch of neighbors in matching polo shirts, handing out flyers about block parties. Reminding you to pick up after your dog. Seemed harmless. But, you live long enough, you figure out there are two types of HOAs in this world. The quiet ones. And the ones that run their little patches of suburbia like a dictatorship, color-coded fist and all. Guess which one I got stuck with? 15 years under a board that fined me for everything. My grass was too tall. Fine. My American flag was 3 inches bigger than regulation. Written warning. My granddaughter chalked a hopscotch grid on the sidewalk. You'd think she'd vandalized Mount Rushmore. After my wife passed, those little yellow envelopes on the doorstep felt heavier every time. I started hating the place I called home. So, when I finally sold that house, packed up, and left HOA land behind, I swore, never again. No more fines. No more mailbox drama. No more color police. My only requirement for a new place. No HOA. Not even a voluntary one that collects $5 a year for begonias. My realtor, God bless her, learned quick. Every time she tried to show me a house, is there an HOA? If she so much as hesitated, I was already halfway out the door. I turned down homes for less reason than most folks send back soup. Then one morning, she calls me up, voice all excited. I found it. Non-HOA, end of the street, big trees, old bones, outside every HOA map. This is the one. Didn't even need coffee that day. I'm in the car, headed over, and let me tell you, when I got there, it was perfect. Brick, 2 stories, yard with enough space to stretch out but not enough to turn into a jungle, and a porch that just begged you to sit and stay a while. We checked every document, deed, plat, zoning, registry, over and over. All said the same thing, no HOA. Not now, not ever. I was ready to hug the county clerk. The first weekend in the new house was magic. My son and his kids ran wild through the rooms, my daughter fussed in the kitchen, and my old buddy Mark drove 2 hours just to help me move my workbench. By sunset, we were eating pizza off cardboard, my granddaughter leaving a greasy heart on the floor. Did I care? Hell no. No HOA, no rules, just family. My daughter said, "This is it, Dad. You finally made it home." And you know what? For one shining moment, I believed her. Should have paid more attention, though, because while we were unpacking, there was a woman standing at the far end of the street, watching us. Clipboard in hand, posture stiff. At the time, I figured she was just a nosy neighbor. But you ever get that feeling someone's taking your measure, sizing you up like a new lawn ornament? Yeah, that's the feeling I had. Next morning, I was up early, coffee in hand, admiring my little kingdom. My law and my rules. No one could tell me not to mow diagonal lines, or park my truck in the driveway, or sit on the porch in my ratty old robe. Sun was just peeking through the maples. I was thinking about planting a little border garden, something bright, maybe some tomatoes. Bent down to measure out a spot, and that's when I heard it. Car rolling up, slow, almost sneaky. I turned. Black SUV. Tinted windows, shiny chrome. Out steps the clipboard lady. She walks up, pastel blazer, hair that doesn't move in a hurricane, smile sharp enough to draw blood. Good morning, she chirps. You must be the new resident. I'm Karen Miller, president of the Maple Grove Estates Homeowners Association. And I thought, oh, hell no. I tell her, nice to meet you, but this property's not part of an HOA. She gives me this patronizing smile, tells me that, actually, as of their newly amended plat, my driveway, my house, all fall under HOA jurisdiction. I kid you not, she called my driveway a common area. Apparently, before moving in, I was supposed to submit a residency application and request permission to use my own driveway. You know what I mean? At this point, I'm boiling inside. She flips through her clipboard, rattling off violations, occupying, trespassing, unauthorized modifications. I said, Karen, I checked the county records myself. She just smiles, says, deeds can take time to update. I told her, Karen, this is my property, you need to leave. Her smile turns cold. If you continue to occupy HOA property, I'll have to escalate. That's when I realized who I was dealing with. Someone who thinks her clipboard is a badge and she's the sheriff in a one-woman town. She threatens me with legal action, fines, even liens. Then, just to put the icing on the cake, she glances at my house and says, you live here alone, correct? In this casual, creepy way that made my skin crawl. I told her to never come on my property again unless invited. She just smiled. One day, you'll wish you'd been more cooperative. Climbed back into her SUV, which didn't leave, just rolled across the street and sat there, windows up, engine idling. Watching. I tried to ignore her. But have you ever tried to weed a garden while someone stares at you like you're a lab rat? 10 minutes. 20. Finally, I walk over, knock on her window, ask if she plans to sit there all day. She tells me, are you going to comply with association protocol? I say, I don't belong to your association. She just grins, not what our paperwork says. I tell her if she doesn't move, I'll call the cops. She dares me. I hated how sure she seemed. But damn it, I wasn't backing down in my own driveway. I called 911. Cops showed up about half an hour later. But, surprise, Karen was gone. Just vanished. Officer sips his coffee, says, sir, this sounds like HOA drama. They tend to overreach. Tells me unless she comes back or damages property, not much they can do. Civil case. That's when the bitterness really hit. Realizing you can follow every rule, do everything right, and still end up with someone else trying to run your life. That night, I found a letter shoved under my front door. No postage, no return address, just my name in the kind of handwriting that looks like it's planning to kill you. Notice of unauthorized occupancy. Demanded I stop using my own driveway, walkway, mailbox. Threatened daily fines and legal action. I laughed so hard I almost cracked a rib. But that laugh? It was the laugh of a man who knows trouble's only getting started. Next day, some guy in a polo shirt strolls by, keeps glancing at my house, snaps a photo of my lawn. I call out, can I help you? He jumps, claims he's on the compliance team, documenting issues. Says my property's newly added to the HOA. I tell him the same thing I told Karen. He slinks off, taking a picture of my mailbox on the way out. Later, I get a text from an unknown number. You can't ignore us. Yeah, that's not ominous at all. Days go by. I try to settle in, hang shelves, fix the garage. But there's this feeling like I'm being watched. Joggers that slow down in front of my yard. Dog walkers who stare too long. And always, the black SUV lurking. Every so often, Karen's smile pressed to the glass. Fourth day, I'm out trimming the hedges. 2 police officers show up, different pair this time. And who's behind them? Leaning on her SUV, arms crossed, smug as a cat. Karen. Officers say there's a possible boundary dispute. Karen starts her spiel, claiming I refused the residency approval process. Says I haven't completed steps 1 through 17. 17. Background checks, driveway usage forms, architectural reviews, the whole circus. I snap. This is a non-HOA house. Karen puts on a dramatic sigh, tells the cops I'm hostile. The officers, to their credit, ask to see my paperwork. I hand over every document, deed, plat, the works. They step outside to confer. While they're out, Karen sidles up and tries to make this easy. Just fill out the form or pay the fee, she says. Everyone else here cooperates eventually. I glare. Not me. She shrugs. The officers come back, tell me my documents are valid, but there's a dispute between the county and HOA records. They advise no major alterations until it's resolved. I asked them to escort Karen off my property. She puts on an Oscar-worthy show, gasping like I'd accused her of arson, but the officer tells her to leave the property line. She glares, spits out, "This isn't over," and peels away, tires screeching. I watched her taillights vanish, but that pit in my stomach didn't. She wasn't bluffing. About then, I met Greg. 3 doors down, salt and pepper hair, New Balance sneakers, classic suburban dad. He tells me, "Heard you ran into Karen." Turns out, she's been targeting non-HOA homes for years, trying to annex them one by one. Greg's mailbox? First week he moved in, she tried to fine him for it being non-compliant. He measured, exactly the same height as hers. Didn't matter. Noise complaints, trash can violations, you name it. 2 families had moved out, houses bought by some investment group, brought under HOA control. She wants your house, Greg says. Because you're new, and because you told her no to her face. He leans in. She can't stand that. He takes me on a walk, shows me the signs. Cameras on certain houses, matching mailboxes for HOA members, odd new yard signs. This place used to be relaxed, he sighs. Now it's Karen's kingdom. I thank him, and he says, document everything. Cameras, letters, threats. That's how you fight back. So that's what I did. Dug out every piece of paperwork, got cameras up, cheap ones at first, then a full 4-camera security system. I even visited the county records office, sat under fluorescent lights while the clerk pulled up the real plat. My property, no HOA. The one Karen flashed around. No county stamp, no approval, just red marker lines and a dream of conquest. Hired a lawyer, Cindy Hahn, a bulldog in a sharp suit who's probably made more HOA presidents cry than bad plumbing. I lay out the whole saga, clipboard Karen, fake maps, police, the hand-delivered threats. Cindy smirks, says, Karen's not just wrong. She's illegal. She drafts complaints, files harassment and extortion reports with the sheriff, requests all the HOA's documents. This is how bullies work, she says. They keep pushing until someone says no. Sure enough, it escalates. Another letter, this one threatening physical removal. Karen shows up on my porch with 2 goons in matching polos, cracking their knuckles. She claims she's authorized to tear down my fence. I call the sheriff. This time, the deputies don't mess around. Tell Karen and her officers to get off my property or face trespassing and coercion charges. She sputters, shrieks, but finally leaves. Then, the twist. Cindy calls, giddy. Turns out Karen forged signatures, fake plat maps, and set up a shell company to siphon HOA funds. She's not just power-hungry, she's profiteering. The county's ready to investigate. Greg and a few neighbors come forward with their own stories. Karen's little empire starts to crack. That evening, Karen storms up my driveway, papers flying, hair wild, screaming about complaints and how I've ruined her. I just wave at the sheriff's car pulling up behind her. Deputies calmly escort her to the cruiser. She kicks, screams, "You'll pay for this." I just smile. No, Karen, I'm done paying for anything with your name on it. Afterward, the neighborhood feels different. Greg walks over, grins. Guess she's not coming to the block party. For the first time, the street is actually quiet. Safe. Karen's gone from the board. The county freezes her boundary proposals. Her shell company exposed. Neighbors thank me, not because I'm special, but because I finally said no. And that, I think, is what stops bullies, just refusing to surrender. You don't have to be young, or loud, or mean. Just say no, and stick to it. Now, I want to hear from you. Ever tangled with an HOA, a bully, someone who tried to make their rules your life? Share your story down below. Do you think there's ever such a thing as a good HOA, or is power always going to go to someone's head? Let's hear your take on justice, right and wrong, or even just the craziest neighborhood drama you've survived. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around. I have a feeling this won't be the last HOA nightmare you'll want to hear about. 13.